was unpredictable, so most of our, homework was done with candlelights. So my wife wonders why, for me, candlelight isn't that romantic. It reminds me of doing homework in candlelight. So now, when you come from that kind of background, and in rural Malaysia, and my first school didn't have any windows, like many of our schools in Africa, just a corrugated iron, and when it rained, you all had a bit of a shower. When you come from that kind of background and you've had a bit of success, you can react in two ways. One, you forget your background and you live for yourself, or you remember your background, you remember your roots, and you realize really everyone has the same amount of talent, except that I have been given the opportunity. I was given a chance, I was given a scholarship by the British government, by the schools here, by my university. My PhD was on a scholarship, my 4 postdoctoral fellowships were on scholarships. Without those opportunities, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it's not about how clever you are, it's being given the opportunity. Our children in Africa are being deprived of these opportunities. And that's what I'm passionate about. So how then do we use our skills, our talents, our time to build real businesses among the poor so that they then will have the opportunities? My own journey started, it's too long a story, but when I started going down this track, I wanted to have some data points. Why is it Asia has developed whereas Africa hasn't? Right? And Africa, I found, over 50 years, had received the equivalent of 6 Marshall Plans. The whole of Europe, continental Europe, after the Second World War, had 1 Marshall Plan. But the whole of Africa received 6 Marshall Plans in aid. So if aid was the solution, Africa should be a very wealthy country by now. Whereas if you look at Asia, Asia has had no aid, it's had no microfinance, it's had no philanthropy. And yet the Asian economies have transformed themselves. And so this is one of the data sets that really worried me. This is over a 30-year period, 1970 to 2000. The red line shows the increase in aid. So aid has been increasing since 1970 into sub-Saharan Africa. But as aid has increased, the GDP of our African countries have decreased. So as if the more aid that we've given Africa, the more we've damaged our economy. This is just, to me, crazy. This is crazy. So one of the problems that we have, I think, in Africa now is that we've got grown too used, too addicted to aid. And our governments have got too addicted to aid. And our governments are therefore just too reliant on aid. And they're doing things to please the aid donors rather than to look after their citizens. We haven't had time to really talk about the consequences of aid, but one of the consequences of aid is this. If our government is dependent on foreign aid, they're going to be friendlier and kinder and nicer to the donors than to their own citizens. Right? Because they're saying to the citizens, you don't give me enough money to run the country, whereas these people do, so I can ignore you. So there's no social contract between the citizens and the governments. And that's dangerous. Governments can then ignore their citizens. Government can brush aside their citizens and just be nice to Washington. And just be nice to all the outfacing agencies. That is always very dangerous and is never helpful to a country developing. So this is an important data set. We can come back to this if you want to talk a bit more about this. Here's another important data set. The West likes to say, oh, we give a lot of aid to sub-Saharan Africa. On the whole, now globally, we give about $137 billion worth of aid globally, of which about a third comes into sub-Saharan Africa. But look at the outflows. The multinationals take up about $36 billion a year. There's another $35 billion we think that is just sort of moved as a tax haven thing. And then the whole sub-Saharan Africa pays something like $21 billion a year in interest repayments for debt. The kind of money that we should be spending on our schools, on our educational, and on our healthcare system, all leaving the continent. We have to fix this. We can't continue like this, because if we do, we will never be able to develop the continent. So, sorry?
What is MNCs?
Multinational companies. So the multinationals, when they come in and they invest, they also take a lot of money out. Okay? Which is fine, provided they pay their taxes, honestly. So if you're in the UK, we're going to assume Google makes a heck of a lot of money here, but only pays about $20 million worth of tax. Right? We don't mind it. We want them to come to Africa and invest and so on. But we also want them to not only create jobs and employment for us in Africa, but we also want them to pay their taxes. Right? Because it's the taxes that helps the governments. Here's another really important thing. The diaspora. Globally now, remittance has been sent back to recipient countries is over $500 billion a year, globally. That's 4 times the amount of aid that governments give, right? So, jobs being created overseas, people sending money back to their own countries is a really, really important part of the global economy. And not only are we now sending money back, we're also sending people back. I was just saying earlier, the whole pharmaceutical industry in India was really started when the diaspora started returning back to India to help build pharmaceutical companies. The whole Taiwan semiconductor IT industry was started by students who studied in the States, who returned back to Taiwan to build companies, build businesses there. So, this not only sending back of money, but sending back of talent is really also very important for us. Here's another really important concept. If you look at this panel over here, this is really the contribution of various parts of the economy. And in our high-income countries, 51% of our GDP comes from small, medium-sized companies. 51%. About 13% is what we call the informal economy. These are the market traders where they use cash and nobody knows, what is going on. The government doesn't collect any taxes from them. So it's the informal economy. About 13% on average, except if you're Greece. If you're Greece, then that informal economy is something like 30%, way double that. The problem is when you have a very large informal economy, the government can't collect any taxes. If the government can't collect enough taxes, they can't run their schools, they can't build their roads, they can't run their legal system, they can't run their sanitation and provide water and so on. We can have a very separate discussion about what the right level of taxation is. We can also have a very long discussion about how wise our governments use our tax dollars. Right? Every country can have a long discussion about that. But the fact of the matter is, if governments don't collect enough taxes from industry, they need aid anyway. So to really help our economies to grow and transform, we need to get up to something like a 51% for the small, medium-sized industries. Compared with what's happening here in Africa, it's the total reverse. The informal economy, on average in Africa, is about 54%. So if from half your economy, you can't collect, the government can't collect any taxes because it's all cash-based, those governments are going to need aid. So if we're really serious about helping our countries to transform themselves, we need to try and build these small, medium-sized enterprises. That's the backbone of all our economies. Over 90% of all the companies registered here in the UK are small, medium-sized enterprises. It's not the multinationals. Right? The multinationals on average in Africa contribute something like less than 15%, 12, 13% of the GDP. Civil service contributes something like 20-odd%. Okay? But the main bulk is small, medium-sized enterprises. So that's where we need to get our sub-Saharan African countries into. Whereas now, sub-Saharan Africa, small, medium-sized enterprises is only 10% of our economy. So we need business people who can go in, make the investments, build these small, medium-sized enterprises, create jobs that pays taxes so that our governments can have the tax dollars to build our schools and run our hospitals. Because if they don't, they will need aid. And we need to move away from this dependency on aid. Okay, so there are lots more stuff I can talk to you about, but let me just come straight and talk to you now about what we've been doing. We have decided really that aid and charity is not the best way to help countries transform themselves. For those reasons, yeah, based on the data. Because it creates a dependency culture. It just doesn't help the governments. So the question is, are there enterprises that we can do, that we can invest in, that can tackle poverty, that can tackle social problems? Can we be creative enough to design businesses that can tackle poverty and tackle social issues, and maybe also tackle some of the environmental issues that we have around? And the answer is yes. And this is a growing area. And about 10 years ago, with some other friends, we started a network called the Transformational Business Network. It's a network of 2,000 disillusioned philanthropists. Because when you've got some money, the easiest thing to do is just to write a check and forget about it, and think that you've done your bit. But really, it doesn't change anything on the ground. Right? So this is a group of people who get on planes, who fly to a country they have a passion for, who walk the slums, go into the township, to go into the slums, find businesses that have the capacity to take on an investment, willingness to have a new business plan wrapped around them, where we're putting patient capital for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, to help them to grow from employing 3 people to 100 people, 200 people, or in one of our cases now, 5,000 people. To employ 5,000 people in the slums. We have 5,000 families having jobs. That ultimately is what will transform our communities. But to do that, it's difficult. You know how hard it is to invest in Uganda. But Uganda is one of the easier countries, relatively speaking, in Africa. There are more difficult countries that we invest in Africa than Uganda. So it requires a kind of some courage, some risk-taking to go in, and a lot of time spent on the ground, mentoring and encouraging these businesses to grow. But it's designing businesses, thinking outside the box. It's not about making money. For those of us in the transformation business know, we make more money sitting here nicely in the UK, rather than getting on planes and going spending time in the slums. So it's not about making money, it's about how do you make an enterprise that gives you a small return, because it has to be profitable. because if it doesn't become profitable, it becomes a